was dancing. Oh, I did. Oh.
Everyone can hear me now. Hello,
Yeah,
everybody. Okay, it was a little bit of a rough intro, rough landing. I do apologize. We're having some technical issues here in Southern California with all of these fires. So if you lose me at any point, don't worry. I will be back. Welcome to another edition of the Highbury Squad, everybody. And joining the crew today, we'd love to welcome Mr. Jordan Jarret Bryan from Channel 4 News and also TalkSport. Welcome, JJB.
Yay! I'm just tweeting that we're doing it. Go on.
Hi, guys. How we doing?
Yeah, all good, Jordan. All good, rough.
Good. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate being here.
Well, it's good to have you. It's a long time coming. So let's get stuck into stuff, shall we? I want to start off with the biggest news, which is not transfer related and it's not Carabao Cup related. It's actually COVID related. I've been seeing the meltdown in England of all of you talking about, well, I guess you can catch COVID after 10 o'clock and you can't go into a stadium, but you can sit in a pub and a restaurant. It sounds like things are pretty bad over there. But most importantly, when it comes to football, you've had another major manager, Arteta obviously being the first, which created the first cancellation of football in March. David Moyes and is it 2 or 3 other West Ham players also testing positive for COVID. Jordan, I'm going to start with you in terms of what you think that news means for football. Arsenal players who had played West Ham luckily have come back with negative tests. What do you think this means for football going forward if we see more positive tests happening in the next week or so?
I think it means for football that no matter how much money you have, no matter what industry you are, you're not shielded from a global pandemic. Football's done a very good job, I think, in getting football back going again. I was one of the people that was saying when the first lockdown happened that I couldn't see any sport for 2020. I wiped off the whole year for sport. I just couldn't see any competitive sport happening, football, tennis, whatever, until next year. So I actually commended the Premier League and all the other sporting authorities to getting sport back and running again. I thought they did a really good job. And when you think about how many footballers, how many staff members at clubs there are, to only have the numbers of people that have caught it, I think it's quite impressive. I think in regards to West Ham, I feel like the game shouldn't have gone ahead. I think it was like an hour and a half before kickoff, they found out they were tested positive. The game shouldn't have gone ahead. And I think there's lessons to be learned about leadership. This needs to be taken out of the club's hands and some kind of higher body, be it the Premier League, the FA, or indeed the government, need to decide, look, this is happening. And you've just articulated the stupidity, really, of the fact that people can have these situations, going on, yet they're saying you can't drink in pubs past 10. I think football has to really look at itself and ask itself, no matter how many tests you do, these are people's lives. And we know from Troy Deeney speaking earlier in the year about concerns players have about bringing it home to their families. And I don't care how rich you are, I don't care how many tests you have, you can get it. You can get it. So I think there's lessons to be learned from what happened last night. And I think we will see some of those big questions being asked about what can happen. The Premier League are tested, but the EFL aren't. How does that work? It's all a bit of a mess for me.
Super Kev, as a player going into this kind of stuff, and you and I have had some discussions about this whole COVID situation, and obviously players' health is the most important thing. It's amazing here in the United States that the NFL, imagine how many players there are on an NFL team, and they're traveling home and away to games, and there have been 0 positive tests that have come back so far. The NBA, obviously, in the bubble in Orlando is a little bit different. I've been covering LA Galaxy games and going here, and again, those teams traveling home and away, and so far, no positive tests. What's your take on this, and how do you think the league will move forward? And as a player, would you be concerned about playing right now?
No, I wouldn't be concerned at all. Look, if we look at the real facts of the matter, people who get this so-called beer flu, coronavirus, they recover. No, I think it's 90-something% recovery rate. Mikel Arteta's. When you consider all of the footballers in the Premier League have been tested, and there's only really a handful of people who have so-called got this virus, and the ones who had it quarantined and they're back. So let's not make it more than it actually is. I understand Troy Deeney, and I think it was N'Golo Kante. They got young children at home who have previous issues. I get all that, but fit, healthy young men. What's the problem? I don't see what the problem is. If I was a player now, I'd be wanting to do my job. I'll be honest with you. So if I contracted it, fair enough. I'll have to self-isolate for 14 days. I get all that. But if you haven't got it, you want to play football because that's your job. That's what I would want to do anyway. So I don't think too much about. I think let's not make too much of a hullabaloo about it because it is sport. It is sport, and sport must go on.
Amanda, you've been really vocal, and as a season ticket holder since 1950, you've struggled with not. It's the first time you ever missed the opening game, first time you've ever missed an FA Cup final, first for a lot of Arsenal fans across the board. From the fan point of view, because I hear what Jordan's saying too about the accountability, the responsibility, the leadership. Health is always first. We are seeing, you can see people vocal on Twitter about, they've lost people in their families, some people without previous health issues and cases. The toughest part, I think, is, and the stupidity in all of this is now the Liverpool-Arsenal game for Monday has been shifted by 15 minutes so people can spend more time in the pub. What's your take in terms of what Jordan and Kevin have said? And from your point of view as a lifelong fan,
I would love to rant on here.
Go on. That's why we have a podcast.
No, about COVID and everything. I can't do it.
Well, we don't want to get political.
No, we don't. Not political. All I will say is, isn't it weird how the league can put back a match to 8:00 for pub opening times, but when fans are trying to get back from an away game and they have no trains, the TV companies don't want to give a flying fuck about fans. It's weird, isn't it, how they can do that when it suits them. So I want to make that point, and someone made that point on Twitter today about the fact that, do you know what? It's funny when we have problems getting home from somewhere, or any fans, not just Arsenal fans, that all of a sudden they can move it back. It makes sense, absolutely. I, for one, didn't realise COVID got out of bed at 10:00 at night and then just came to the pubs and the restaurants and the bars. I mean, obviously, COVID's very clever because it doesn't hit the bar at 7, very smart, 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. From day one, I've not understood any of this. I really don't want to get political or anything because this is about Arsenal. The fact that Arteta got it and got through, thank God. Unfortunately, there have been people that have passed away from this terrible illness, but there are terrible illnesses everywhere, like the flu and cancer and everything. And it's just...
But you can't catch cancer from someone else, and no, it is different.
But you can catch the flu from someone else. And I know people that have had proper flu that are actually knocked for 6, even worse. Look, I'm not here to tell anybody what they should do. All I know is that what I read and what I hear, I'm not a sheep. I don't believe half, probably 3/4 of what the mainstream media are putting out. I don't believe what the government say. I don't believe so much, but I'm also not a massive conspiracy theorist either. So it's hard for me. But what I don't understand is the morale for a lot of people the morale needs lifting for a lot of people. I was so excited about the possibility of going back to the Emirates in 2 weeks' time. And now that's been taken from me. And you just go like that. You just go, it's a 60,000-seater stadium or 50,000, whatever it is. Why can't we be socially distanced? Yet you're going to put people on trains, you're in offices, all sitting near each other. I don't understand. Socially distance us. That's all I'm saying. So with regards to whether the game should go ahead, that's got to be down to the club and their doctors. That's it. It's not down to the government to decide. It's not down to anybody. It's the club and the doctors. If we are fit, if we are COVID-free, then we play. But I will say something else as well. The reason that there are more people with COVID is they're testing more. And the more tests they do, a lot of people may have it, but maybe just carriers as well. We carry a lot of things. Look, I'm not a doctor. I know I'm going to get lambasted for saying all these things, but that's just me, Amanda's personal opinion.
Can I just say the reason why I think it's problematic to leave the decision in the hands of the clubs is because what if one club says they want to do it, another one says they don't want to do it? And also, what if one club with 3 games to go to the end of the season, they could be getting relegated, decides actually we've got an out here, and another club's going for the title and they need to play that game? That's why I think it's taken out of the hands of the clubs.
But Jordan, do you honestly think that they would lie and say players have got COVID if they haven't, just to avoid relegation? Jordan, I think I live in Princess Gooner's world where everyone is just legit.
I want to be in your world. I want to be in your world.
I know, and I wish everyone would live in my world because we'd all be happy, healthy, and just getting on with life. But unfortunately, we can't. And I know what you're saying, but. So whose hands do you put it in?
I think it has to be the Premier League have to decide or the EFL, because it was a Carabao Cup game last night. Whoever's running that league have to decide if yay or nay. If there's someone that's found positive for coronavirus, this is the protocol. We either play games if it's under X amount of numbers, or we don't. But I don't think the clubs can make that call because they'll have their own agendas.
Sorry, Jordan, I wasn't talking about last night because I was unaware of that. Sure. I'm talking in general. I'm talking about whether, God forbid, Arsenal have players that have got COVID, then I don't think they should play. No, of course not. But
didn't the Premier League make the decision? Do you remember when West Ham had a few players earlier on and then Mikel Arteta got it? Didn't the Premier League shut it down?
Yes, because it was very new then. It was the very first manager.
Yeah, but they shut it down. My point is, there is the government, the governing body who shut it down.
Yeah.
If it gets bad, I suppose.
The government decides on how to protect the people in a public setting, right? So there'll be the law and the authority on when fans can go back into stadiums. The clubs can't do that, right? But I think what Jordan is saying is important too, because I think in this scenario, there's 2 schools of thought, right? And we'll wrap up the COVID bit here in just a minute. But the financial implications for football, and again, I'll give the US as an example. The Dallas Cowboys had 25,000 fans in their stadium. Now, it's a gigantic stadium in Jerry's world, of course. Socially distancing. The Cleveland Browns on Monday night game against the Bengals, they did too. College football is coming back, and certain divisions are also allowing some fans to come back. But mostly, if you're in a dorm together, if you're roommates together, if you're in a sorority together, for example, that's kind of how they're dealing with it. I think the toughest thing for fans here is what's going on in England, in the sense that there's one rule for the daily method of operation of life. And then there's another rule where you could easily have 2,000 people at the Emirates and everybody could be socially distanced, and it would be safer than probably getting the tube. And I think that's where the angst lies. That's where people are getting really touchy about it. But what I wanted to ask you guys too is, what do you think about Premier League teams being responsible? Frank Lampard came out today and said that Premier League teams have to help the EFL teams. I mean, these clubs, we keep talking about the Premier League, but this is football in England as a whole, Jordan, right? These clubs, we're seeing them suffer, and financially, those are the clubs at the heartbeat, at the grassroots level, that are going to be the ones clinging on to dear life, on life support here when it comes to surviving through this, right?
No, totally. And I think that in principle, yes, the Premier League should help out the little brother, if you like. The EFL doesn't have the money the Premier League has. So yes, if you've got the billions that it generates to help out, then you should help out for the lifeblood of the English game and all the pyramids. But I think that there's a chance here. The Premier League might have to look after itself. I know that they're a lucrative entity within themselves. But don't underestimate how many Premier League sides could be in trouble. They won't go under. I don't think they'll go under, but there'll be some Premier League sides that are going to be in big, big trouble. People keep talking about the lower league clubs, and I think they'll go. There's lots of clubs will go. But don't think, look in other industries. You've got BA letting go of 40,000 people. You've got Next, Gap. You've got big corporations making cuts. So the Premier League is not exempt from that as well. There are some big Premier League clubs that are going to be in trouble. So there might be an element the Premier League thinks, well, boy, I wouldn't mind helping them guys out, but we got to look after ourselves first of all. Do you know what I mean? So I think in principle, it's a nice thing to do. But I think at this point now, every company, every business is thinking we've got to look after ourselves first of all.
Yep, it's survival mode, right, Casey? I had a friend of mine who worked for BA for 35 years and was offered the deal was, and the truth of it is that they asked them to take 50% of their salary or a redundancy. And of course, he's going to take the redundancy. They were held to ransom. And I think a lot of corporations are using COVID also as an excuse to make people work harder for less money. And that's just the nature of the beast, isn't it, Casey, in terms of corporate life and the corporate world. And as we know, football clubs are corporations.
Yeah.
Never let chaos go to waste. And this is what these companies are doing. But look, getting back to the EFL, you know who the governing body for the EFL is? It's not the Premier League, it's the FA.
Yeah.
The FA, the Premier League are out on its own. They're their own administration, own entity. The EFL, the governing body, is the FA. So the FA have to really look at League Championship, League One, and League Two. That's the way it works. It's not the Premier League's issue. And
but
Jordan's
you know
right.
what? Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
No, I was just I'm agreeing, but I am worried about football. I'm not talking about the Premier League. I'm talking about all the leagues. I'm worried about all the clubs. This is going to be the hardest year for them. The grassroots, the what they called the under League
the
4,
non-league,
all of them. I'm so concerned for how they're going to survive. And I mean, you know, you talk about Tottenham, they took a government grant, but everyone is struggling, and it's impossible not to. The only people that are making money in this are Amazon and food. I mean, honestly, I feel like
Amazon are killing it.
I feel like we're living in a mad world, and it's not real. And we're going to wake up, and I'm going back to the Emirates, and I'm going to moan about how many stairs I've got to climb, and the fact that I can't get my green tea at half time, and the fact that everyone's moaning about Ozil, and yet that's all gone. And you're taking.
So I think your point is valid. I think between now and Christmas, 10 clubs will go.
I do,
think, and that's me being modest. I think between now and Christmas, 10 clubs are going to go.
Do you know how many people I know that have been made redundant just this week in different areas of work? It is so worrying out there, and I don't have any faith in our leader, I'm afraid. I'm not talking about Mikel Arteta here. I have every faith in him. I have more faith in him to run the bloody country, but I'm just saying that I am worried for the clubs.
It's all by design, Princess. Right. All by design.
Right. Shifting gears.
They're going to collapse the economy. That's what's happening. Well, they're going to collapse the economy. I told you ages ago they're going to collapse the economy.
But why?
And that's what's going to happen. Get ready for the digital. Get ready for crypto.
Right then. Moving on.
Right, anyway. We should have a political show, Kev, me and you.
We listen. Political or conspiracy? I don't know which one.
I'm a little bit in between all of it.
You guys can figure out the title, right? Let's get to some breaking news here, folks, because I was going to go to the Les Ferdinand story, but we'll do that a little bit after, because the breaking news is this is the starting 11 for tonight's Carabao Cup.
Oh, bless him.
Look who's missing from the lineup.
Where's Ozil?
Can't even make the Carabao Cup team, Casey.
Lino.
No surprise. It's no surprise.
Well, Runnison's not ready to play. He just came, right? And
good team, innit? Good team.
Well, we haven't won this.
Good team.
We haven't won this since 92, 93, Jordan. Are you sick and tired of talking about Mesut Ozil? Because we are, and we actually don't talk about him on our show
I was just going to say, I don't know why you're still talking about him. I refuse to discuss Mesut Ozil.
So over him.
I'm over it. I mean, that lineup shows, if anybody, I knew it, but if anybody didn't know it, shows that he's not playing again for Arsenal ever again. So he's done. Ozil's done. In regards to that team, that's a strong team for a Carabao Cup game, in my opinion. There's about 5 individuals in the Premier League, managers and players, that I've got my eye on this year. Big question mark over. One of them is Pepe, because I think that the Arsenal fan base massively overhyped his performances last season. I don't think he was crap, but I don't think he was as good as many people said he was. I think this year, I'm looking for a big year from Pepe, because I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced about Pepe yet. He costs a lot of money, and I need to see a lot more from him. And the fact that he can't make the first team in his second season, I think that's quite concerning.
I do too. It's 80 million of average right now. And I've been telling Casey and Amanda this, Jordan, for a few months. And the fact that now Willian is ahead of him in our side, he's had some moments. He's had some moments and sparks.
Yeah,
we take the piss out of other teams for wasting money. Right now, that kid has got a lot to prove. So go on, Amanda. I'm just waiting for you. Just waiting for you to say, give him a chance.
Do you know what? I am the most impatient person in so many things in my life, except bedding in players. Seriously, give him a chance, for God's sake.
How much longer?
Has he had even 2 full seasons here?
He cost 80 million.
Managers in under a year.
He's cost 80
managers in under a year.
So how's he supposed to settle?
What's going on with these people?
Oh,
You know what it is? I'm not looking for him in his first season to score 15 goals and get 100 assists. But what I've noticed about him is the basics. Even the basics, I'm like, the crossing, the decision making. He scored some great goals last year. A couple of important goals too, granted. But I'm just like, you cost £75 million. That's a lot of money on someone that you need a second year to get going. And he can't even start in the second season. He hasn't started yet for Arsenal this season. That's not good for me. That's not good.
Maybe there's a reason, Jordan. Maybe. Go on, Kev.
Princess, hold on a minute. We've seen the likes. We have seen the likes of Shevchenko. Do you remember Shevchenko?
Yeah.
Come to the Premier League and couldn't hit a barn door.
All right, I tell you what, Kev.
Hold on. I listened to you.
All right.
You listen to me now.
Go on, Kev.
Shevchenko came in. We've seen big players come into the Premier League and not be able to do it. Hazard wasn't brilliant in his first year. Hazard's numbers were pretty similar to Pepe's, to be honest.
Okay.
But, hold on, Chelsea were a more progressive team than we were, with bigger world stars than we've got. Pepe's come into a team who's all over the place. So I think there needs to be a little bit of slack cut for him. I'm not saying that he can't do better. Yes, he can. But come on, guys. This is third manager.
I'll tell you
That's
what.
all I'm saying.
So Shevchenko came to the Premier League proven already. So he didn't come in with nothing to prove. He came in with a record.
That's even worse, Jordan.
No, it's not, because at least we knew what. And also he was old. He came at like 39. Come on, Kev. Come on. And also Hazard didn't
Jordan,
cost.
come on.
No. Hang on. And you mentioned Hazard. Hazard didn't cost 80 million euros, Kevin. That's a lot of money for someone that's got
but you can't have it. You can't have it both ways, Jordan.
Go on.
You can't have it both ways. Because Hazard didn't cost the money and Shevchenko cost big money, you can't have it both ways.
But it didn't cost big money.
Shevchenko cost big money. Of course he did.
Did he?
Shevchenko cost big money.
Did he?
Big money at the time.
30 million.
Big money at the time. Big money at the time.
Kev, 30 million then was not the equivalent to 80 million now.
No, big money at the time. But it's even worse if you're coming as a proven player. We bought Mesut Ozil to our club. Mesut Ozil done it for a bit, but he's not doing it now. Pepe has come from France. French league is nowhere near as good as tough as the English league. So you're telling me you're not going to cut him any slack?
The French league gets a tough time. Go on, Jordan.
No,
Go on, round three. No. Go on, get it in.
I'm not saying I've written him off. I'm just saying there's a question mark, and I'm saying season 2, he's got to do something pretty spectacular to get me on side. He didn't come in as a young £12 million striker. He came in for big money. And the people say, "Oh, that's not his fault." Mm-hmm. The people say it's not his fault. Now you're a player, so correct me if I'm wrong here. But the wages he'll be getting paid that he agreed to would be linked to what he knew Arsenal were buying him for. So if Arsenal said to him, his agent said, "Look, they're going to pay 80 million for you. So therefore, I want X salary rather than this salary."
It doesn't work like that, Jordan.
How does it work
like that.
How does it work?
It's negotiated. It's not linked to the transfer. Let's
say he came in for 30 million. He wouldn't be getting the wages he's getting right now. He'd be getting less. So it is linked. It is linked.
It's not linked, because people who come in on a free can get more. So it's not linked, is it?
Okay.
See, that's why Mesut Ozil.
Yes, Amanda.
Hold on. That's why Mesut Ozil has got such a big salary, because his contract was run out, and the club had to make him the offer that he couldn't refuse.
Kev,
do you understand what I'm saying?
Can I just say something, Jordan? Kev's right. They actually got more money if they're not been bought for big money. But that's not the point. None of that is Pepe's fault. If Pepe isn't a class player, then he's not a class player. If he is, regardless of money. We know this because if you come through the academy, you don't cost like that, do you? So, Jordan, all we're saying is let's give him a chance. I remember people moaning at Bergkamp, at Perez, because they didn't do it quick enough. Henry. There were so many. I probably moaned at... No, Jordan... Listen, it was a different time then as well. So social media wasn't around with Perez. Let me tell you, you'd have been talking about Perez the way you're talking about Pepe now. Guaranteed, because I didn't see. So I didn't see what everyone saw. Perez looked interesting to me. I didn't know what he was going to bring. Overmars as well. I mean, what a player. I can go through all our list of players, yeah?
But the people you've named, though, if they had a poor first season, I would say, okay, the first year wasn't great, but I know what they can do based off of what they did last year. He hasn't got a credit in the bank. There's no credit in the bank with Pepe.
What they done last year where? Last year? What are you talking about? Last year?
Okay, was he good last year?
I didn't think he was that bad.
No, was he good?
Was he good last year? Was he good?
He had one magical moment in the FA Cup, right?
Come on, that's not fair. He scored some good.
One magical moment.
My point is, the standards need to rise. If we're purchasing a player of that fee, and I think the fee is relevant, but whatever, of that, we broke our transfer record. I need more than 10 goals.
Jordan, can I just say something to you? If he costs 15 million, you'd be looking at him going, "Oh, actually, he's not a bad player for 15 million."
I would.
It's not his fault that the transfer market's inflated, is it? Not being funny.
Time out on Pepe.
Jordan wants to back Pepe, man. He wants to back Pepe.
One more thing, Jordan. No, one more thing. I want to talk about one more thing. One more thing, Jordan. Let's talk about Willian, yeah? We all like him. Everyone rates him in the last couple of matches. He didn't cost us anything. Obviously, he's probably on big wages. If it had come for 50 million, you'd have been saying the same thing. I want more.
No,
Let's just give Pepe a season under Arteta without COVID, without all this. Let's just give him a chance. Remember, he's away from home in a pandemic. He's not an older guy, is he? Everything, you have to count everything, I'm afraid.
Let me just jump in here. Woo! That was fiery. I don't have any of the fire signs going. I haven't bought that package.
Hold on, let me get the thing to light it up.
Everyone in chat is having is thoroughly enjoying this. I'll tell you that much. I think it was Terry, I'm a Gooner Terry, who said, "Why are we talking about Pepe when Doozy, Mustafi, Socrates are all still at our club?"
Jordan is saying he cost 70 million where they didn't.
This is true. Okay, here's the thing. I think that Jordan and I agree on is that when you spend that kind of money, your eyes see Pepe differently to us. I think what we're seeing is, I'm not even sure I see that he's got that talent to be that player, whether he's 15 million or whether he's 72 million. Now,
did you see
said
that goal he scored? Did you see his assists? I mean, am I not watching the same player?
Yes, but when you...
We're not watching the same game.
No, we're not.
But
We
Obviously,
can't be. We can't be.
I tell you what's telling. 3 managers have all been unsure about him.
Yes, exactly.
Ljungberg, Emery, and now Arteta are not starting him. That says something to me. And as far as I'm concerned, the first year, give him a bye. He should have been working his backside off in pre-season to make sure in game 1 at Fulham, I'm in that starting 11. And he wasn't. Why?
Yeah.
Jordan.
Exactly. That's a great point.
Sophie.
Yes,
when it mattered, if he was so bad, when it mattered in the FA Cup,
I didn't say it was bad.
The FA Cup semi-final and final, Pepe wouldn't have played.
Listen,
Let's be honest. That's under Arteta. That's under Arteta.
I didn't say it was bad. I didn't say it was bad. I never said you said he was bad.
I never said you said he was bad. I'm just saying, if Arteta didn't fancy him, he wouldn't have played in those meaningful games. I just think right now, Arteta wants to play Willian. That's it. Pepe it's a long season. There's a lot of games coming. So how it starts is not going to be how it finishes. For me.
Away from Pepe, can I just quickly say as well, I think this season, more than any other season, regarding tonight's game, I think actually, I don't want to lose any game. Don't lose any game. But I just wonder if coming out of this cup early might be a blessing in disguise, because there's going to be a lot of games coming thick and fast. If we, as I think we can, get top 4, I just wonder if having as much breaks and gaps as possible is going to help that. And if we lost tonight, I wouldn't be happy, but I wouldn't necessarily be, because the next round's next week. The next round is next week. So the games are coming thick and fast. So,
but I think that's good for the. I think it's good for the reserves, to be honest, or whatever you call them. I think it's good. They need game time.
Okay, so in a sense, I agree again. Wow, Jordan and I are agreeing here. I'm so happy to have. He should come on every week.
There you go.
We're not very good in the League Cup. We haven't won it since the 92-93 season. And maybe it was, Steve Morrow breaking his arm that jinxed us, and that's why we haven't won it since. But I think we always want to be a trophy and be competitive. Pep shows that, right? He loves to win every single domestic trophy. But for Arsenal, we don't have Manchester City's resources. The goal is this season to get back into the Champions League. It is the number one priority, without any question of a doubt. So you said, Jordan, that you think we can challenge for top 4. KC has said that, and Amanda also, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, PG, that they don't see us being able to achieve that without bringing in a Partey or an Aouar. Okay, so we're all on the same page about that, right? Now, there is talk about Torreira going to Atletico Madrid. We need to shift Mustafi. There's rumours about him going to Italy. There's also rumours that Torino are coming back in for Torreira, which is a little bit worrying in terms of maybe scuppering any deal. What do you think is the most important sign? If we can only make one signing, well, I asked this question to the gang earlier this week, Jordan, and I don't think their minds have changed on this. If we're going to make one signing, which is the one that's the most important to help us get into that top 4 position?
I think it's Partey. I think a lot of Arsenal fans are talking about the lack of creativity in our side. And if you look at Ceballos, him aside, there's not a lot of creativity in the middle of the park in our squad. And even Ceballos, I think, is a bit of a 1 in 3 man. I don't think you rely on him all the time. So I get the creativity argument, but I think the bigger need is just a presence in midfield. You go and look at Man United's midfield. I think they have problems, Man United, but look at their midfield now. Go and look at City's midfield. Look at Liverpool's midfield, Chelsea's midfield. Even Wolves and Leicester's midfield, they have that mix of creativity and presence.
How about Everton?
Even Everton, Kev. So
Everton's is better than ours.
I think
Keep bringing up Everton, Amanda. I think we might be sending case.
No, it is. Because
He's wearing a blue
they made
top,
the move in the transfer window to strengthen that midfield.
And they've done it.
difference.
I don't think a midfield of Xhaka and Ceballos gets you top 4. It just doesn't. So I think we should be going for Partey. And I think it's quite embarrassing that we haven't got Partey yet. Partey, for me, I've watched a lot of him over the last few years. I think one of the top 3, top 5 defensive midfielders in world football. £45 million, I think it's a bloody snip. I think that's a bit of a rip-off. I'm like, 45 million. Just sign that straight away.
Take their hand off, Jordan.
It's a bargain. Why are we even thinking about this?
Because I think we're living in a very different world to,
Maybe.
I think it's the circumstance of what we're all living in at the moment, to be honest. And let's hope we do get Partey, because I'm with you. That's the one we need and want.
You put Partey in that midfield. I think you have presence. I think you have someone that can command the midfield, and he can play a little bit as well, and he can play centre back if needed. So I would get him. But just quickly, I would also say, I've said this for the last 2-3 summers, I actually think the outgoings are just as important as the incomings. I think who goes is just as important as getting Partey. If we didn't get Partey, but we got rid of Mustafi, Socrates,
Chambers. Why is he still there?
Yeah, Chambers.
Kolasinac.
If we got rid of those 4, that for me, we've got to clear the decks. Get all the Wengerites, get them out. All the Wengerites, get it out. That's important for me as well, I think.
I agree. I'd give Kolasinac away for a Big Mac and fries.
I would, then I'd just take him to the airport. I'd drive him.
The problem is he's on a big contract, and I don't think German clubs can afford 100k a week.
How is he on a big contract?
Well, he came on a free, didn't he?
He came for free. Yeah.
And there's
on big money, Jordan.
Well, looks like my mic.
He's a little bit better. Pepe's a little bit better than him, Kev, isn't he?
Here we go.
Don't start that.
Now we're moving on from Pepe. What's next, young Sophie?
Okay. Well, I also think my mic's working again. So apologies if there was any glitches earlier and stuff like that. Right. So we've gone through. We've got the team for the Carabao Cup, and we're not going to talk too much about the Carabao Cup. I think if we get through, great. If we don't, I don't think any Arsenal fans are going to lose any sleep over this one. I think the one thing that we might lose sleep over a little bit is if this transfer window does end up with where we're at right now, and we haven't taken advantage of, say, where Manchester United and Chelsea are right now, because I feel like with those additional signings, we don't have the raw talent that I think Chelsea have made some great acquisitions, but Havertz has struggled already. I think Timo Werner looks like the type of player that is going to be great in this league. He just has that edge to him. I don't think their back line is going to be the back line that we're going to be seeing playing over the coming months. How do you compare us right now? If we're going to finish in the top 4, right, and it's us, Liverpool, and Manchester City, do you really think that we can do that the way we're at right now? Considering it doesn't look like Manchester United are going to buy anyone. It looks like Chelsea are going to be where they're at right now. I'm just still not 100% sure, Amanda. Go on, Jordan.
No, Amanda, go first.
No, go on, Jordan. No, go on.
I think if the window closed tomorrow, I would have us 4th, 5th, probably more 5th. What gives me faith in that I think we'll come above United and Chelsea, I think of the 3 managers, we have the best of the 3. And maybe that's putting a lot of faith and a lot of pressure on Arteta. And I think there are some flaws in Arteta, but generally I think he's better than Solskjaer. And again, a bit like Pepe, I've got a question mark over Lampard. This is the year I think Lampard's got to really step up. But I think it would be difficult to get top 4 with the current squad we've got. I think Chelsea got a better squad than Arsenal. I think United have. Yeah, it's with United it's close. It's close with United. I'm not sure, but I think all 3 clubs will make signings between now and the end of the window. I think there's going to be a bum rush in those last 2 or 3 days of signings. So I think there will be deals done. But in terms of where we are right now, I've got us 4th/5th. Head says 5th, heart says 4th. But with Partey in, 4th definitely.
Right. Okay. So Amanda and KC, what about Wolves? They're spending $1 gazillion on on players. And then Leicester have started strong, but they did last season. I'm not too worried about Leicester. I think they're the type of team that will kind of lose energy as the season goes on. But what about Wolves and Everton? And we keep talking about United and Chelsea. I don't know. I just don't think that we're, as much as I have faith in Arteta, Amanda, all of a sudden I'm a little bit worried.
Well, the transfer window's not over yet, and I think Arteta knows what we need. I think I have every faith in Arteta. What I don't agree with Jordan on, surprise, surprise, I do think that we're quite ahead of United in squad wise. I think what we've seen is Chelsea have got it, but they've got a terrible defence. We don't know how Saliba's going to fit. Gabriel looks good. You know,
Saliba's not even starting tonight. He's not even.
Yeah, but he's on the bench. But I also think that people are not giving us enough credit at the moment. We're so used to what we've had the last couple of years. I've actually quite confident in our team. We played so appallingly bad against West Ham. That would have been a match we'd have drawn or lost 100%. And the fact we won it playing so poorly, as I did joke, and people actually took me seriously, when you play that badly, that's the sign of champions. I was being funny, everybody. But it's true. We would never, we would never have won that last year or the last couple of years. We would have drawn that and probably lost. And to be fair to West Ham, they did deserve a draw out of that at least. But they didn't take their chances and we did. So I just think that we're building on momentum here. I didn't expect Tottenham to do what they did, but I'm telling you, Son is one of the best players in the league. He really is. As much as I hate anything to do with that lot, you can't knock Song. So I don't think top 4 is cut and dried anymore. I think there's a good 8 or 9. And I mean, look at Kev's Everton. And I mean, I've got some friends there as well as Kev as well. And they're buzzing. They are absolutely buzzing with what they've bought and how they're playing at the moment. So
their midfield's transformed their.
I mean, James Rodriguez, I've always liked, and he's going to be. So it isn't going to just be United, City, Arsenal, Tottenham, United, isn't Chelsea, whatever. It's not going to be that. There's going to be a lot more going for it this year, and it's going to be more interesting.
KC, do you think we'll finish above Spurs this season?
I think it all depends. It all depends if we get the players we need. Look, we know where the weak spots are. Yeah. We know where the weak spots are. Arteta knows where the weak spots are. Stevie Wonder could see where the weak spots are. Let's be brutally honest. So if it's going to be our own fault if we don't get those players that we know we need in, I mean, there's still talk of Zaha as well coming.
Madness.
On loan.
Madness.
Right? Now,
we need another winger.
I know it's kind of based on like the Man City model. Look how many players at Man City can play in different positions. But it's a long season. And if you're going for everything, you need a bigger squad. So that's the way Arteta's thinking. Now, if we don't get Partey, I don't think we're making the top 4. So I'm with Jordan on this. I've said it before. If we get Partey, I think we'll make the top 4. If we get Partey and Aouar, I think it's nailed on for the top 4.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
So I think if we get those 2 players, because I think Manchester City are still vulnerable in defence. Would you guys all agree with that? I don't think they were terrible defensively last season. That's pretty much what cost them being able to challenge Liverpool for the title. I think we were all thinking it's difficult to defend the Premier League, and it's not easy to go back to back. But then when Liverpool went out and got Thiago, I think that's the kind of signing that's a game changer. He gives them a plan A, B, and C. He's added something to that team, will add something to that team that they've not quite had over the last, since Jurgen Klopp has been there, really. Wijnaldum, Henderson, very different players. So, I think these signings are really important for us. And I firmly believe that if we don't sign those players, I think we'll struggle to get top 4. I really do. So let's talk about this, because I want to know from you guys, which is your favorite? Who's your hot seat manager? Who do you think will get sacked first? I think Melvin brings up a good point. I put a bet on Frank Lampard and Jose Mourinho being sacked by Christmas, Jordan.
I've
what
got
do you?
three.
I think Arteta's going to get time. Who are yours?
I've got 3 bets with 3 people. One of them is my dad, who's a Chelsea fan, and I did this about 2 months ago that Lampard doesn't finish the season. And it's a bit of an outside shout. It's a bit of a long shot, but there's just something about Lampard I'm not quite convinced. He did get them top 4 and to a cup final, so we have to give credit for that in his first season with a transfer ban. So let's be fair, but there's still just something. I'm just not sure. I'm watching him hard. So I don't know when he'll go, but I've got a feeling he might. Beyond Lampard, who will go?
How many is it? Is it 1? Is it 1 or 3 here? What's all this? He might be mentioning my one or Sophie's one.
All right. I'll park that one.
You've already said one. Get out of it.
I'm gonna go with the Villa boss, Dean Smith. I'm going Dean Smith.
Wow.
Dean Smith.
I feel like Kev has taken over from me tonight. You need to.
No, hey,
He's
I'm
on
not
one
gonna have
now.
Jordan coming on here
On
and
one.
hey, doing that to
I
us,
think
Sophie.
Jordan's
No
doing
chance.
very
No,
well,
Amanda, no
Casey.
chance.
Well, I agree with
Go on,
Archie
Amanda.
because I think David Moyes. I think there's a big issue at West Ham, but I also think Ole.
Hey. 1.
Oh, don't you tell
no.
me. I'm older than you.
1.
Have show some
If
respect.
Jordan's got 1, you have to have 1. You said 1, Sophie, didn't you?
Moyes, David Moyes.
Well, I said Lampard and Jose. I thought I'd,
Yeah.
know,
Do you know what?
sorry,
As
I
long
tell
as
you what, this is.
As long as it's not Arteta,
Well,
what
you've
do we
mentioned all
care?
of mine then. Well, you've mentioned all of mine. Thank you very much.
Why don't you go ahead, Mr. Campbell, and tell us who your one is?
No. I think Moyes. That's what I thought, David Moyes. And
Yeah.
PG Trouble there just mentioned it again after saying someone else.
Oh, apparently, Jordan, they want to send me out on loan, and he gets upset.
Yeah, she's
because
going
no
on
one
loan.
wants me.
So it's the last
No
time
one
you see her
wants
with
me
a
in
bit
any
of-
other podcast.
I'll take you on my podcast on loan. Come on my
Jordan,
podcast.
I'm coming on your podcast. I don't know what you do, but
Finally.
I'm coming on your podcast.
It's
Yes! Sophie, get the champagne out!
I tell you someone else actually who I've just come to mind, who I think their team's going to have a massive dip this year and could be in trouble. I think Brendan Rodgers at Leicester could be a sneaky shot for a sack as well, because I can't see Leicester coming top 6 this season. And he has a reputation of doing really well in one season and in the following season not being able to quite back it up at previous clubs. So I wonder if the pressure on him from above will be, well, you got us top 6 last season. We expect worst case top 8 for Leicester. And I don't think they'll get to. I think Leicester this year fall out of the top 8. So I think Brendan Rodgers, when it goes bad for Rodgers, it goes really bad for him. So he's someone that I think could be worth a cheeky fiver.
Wow, 8th. Leicester falling to 8th. Amanda.
No, I think lower than that. I think they'll get lower than that.
I quite like Jordan because he's obviously winding up Kevin, so I'm all for it. That's all I'm going to say. Someone else.
It's not on purpose.
Kevin going. Kevin's on fire.
This is epic. Kevin is on fire. Right. Okay. Well. Okay.
I'm not having him coming on here.
Jordan, you're welcome back every week if you continue to wind him up.
I didn't mean to cause trouble. I didn't mean to cause no trouble.
No, Jordan, it's no trouble, mate.
Hilarious.
Don't come back.
Jordan, how much time do we have you for? Do we have you for another?
As long as you want. As long as you
Okay,
want.
this is
brilliant.
good. This is
Because we've got
great.
about
Brilliant.
19 more subjects on her agenda.
Yeah, we do. Because we spent like half an hour talking about Pepe. And I've got
Jordan,
I think
Jordan.
this guy's torturing me.
Jordan,
Go on.
once the loan goes through, your option to buy.
Is there a buyback? Is there?
There's a no. You can't bring it back. You can't bring her back.
Kevin Campbell. This is what I'm saying. At least
No
Jordan
return.
appreciates me.
Yeah, hey, listen, he'll be looking to give you back after 1 week. Trust me. You could have her.
No. It's a loan with a compulsory buying Of
Thank
course.
you.
Wow.
He'll want to pay. And let me tell you, unlike Pepe, I won't be taking high wages. I'm happy for a green tea, and that's it.
Listen, I need to get... Okay, Kevin, I've fired up the
She-
fax machine. I've fired up the fax machine.
Fired it
I've
up,
got
fire
the
it up.
paperwork. got-
Sophie's all over the place. She's all upset because we've gone off her agenda. We're going to get told
I love
off in the
it.
WhatsApp group. We're just going to
fantastic.
be everything.
I don't know what's happening because my little signs at the bottom are freezing, but you're telling me they're all good on your
They're
end.
fine.
So, you
Just
know.
keep
So
pressing
listen.
buttons.
Okay, so here's the scoop. Timeout, NBA style. Woo!
Is that time out?
Yeah, timeout. Just to switch gears real quick, and then we'll get back to another fun subject. But while I have Jordan on, I think it's really important that we talk about this. And we have KC here and Amanda. You know, we've all kind of lived through a lot of different experiences this year. And obviously being in the United States, it's very prevalent, you know, here. And we're kind of bracing ourselves a little bit for a huge decision that's going to come later on this afternoon that I hope isn't going to incite more violence. And that's the case of Breonna Taylor. But obviously...
It's just been announced, actually. Sorry to go too political, but it's just announced the cops, I think, are going to be indicted for the murder. So, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. All right. No, thank you very much.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on.
It's another case. It's just another case.
God.
You know,
Well,
and it's been ongoing.
Apartment.
Yeah, and it's been ongoing for quite a while. And, you know, the decision was delayed and people couldn't understand why. But here we are. So, and we saw that it galvanized the movement around the world, the Black Lives Matter movement. And Les Ferdinand, who, you know, KC, and, you know, I think he's the only Black director of football in all of football. Is that true? Les Ferdinand? Right. Yeah. So he came out and made the comment about kneeling and the fact that kneeling has lost its impact and that it's nothing more than a PR exercise right now. Andy Townsend made an interesting comment in response to that when asked on TalkSport, when he talked about, and I don't know what play he was referencing, but they were playing football in the backyard and his son took a knee before they started playing football together. And Andy Townsend thinks that the Crystal Palace players or Crystal Palace will continue to kneel. I wanted to start with you, Jordan, on what your thoughts are on what Les said, Andy's response. And he did say that he totally respects Les's opinion, but take it away and let us know what you think about all of that. And if you do agree with Les and you think it has lost its impact.
I think regarding the knee, I have said from the get-go, and I still maintain, I don't care. Whether you knee or don't knee, I don't personally care. I've never cared. I saw, I think it was Liverpool were the first club that tweeted out a photo of their squad during a training session taking the knee, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is great!" and Liverpool supporting. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't care, because the whole kneeing thing for me is a distraction from the real issue, what's going on here. It's something that I think the Premier League love because it enables them to seem like they're doing something. And I think that goes to the heart of Les Ferdinand's comments. Kneeling or not kneeling doesn't show me whether A, you're racist or not. So that doesn't mean anything to me. It's solidarity. It's feeling good as a community. But I'm sorry, but when black men are being shot dead by the police officers on your half of the pond, and the black people are being stopped and searched disproportionately on outside of the pond by the police, I'm not interested in solidarity. I'm not interested in feeling good. I'm interested in action. And that gets to the heart to me of what Sir Les Ferdinand, and I do call him Sir Les Ferdinand, because I think he should be knighted, of what his comments were, which were fundamentally, what are we trying to achieve here? And what is by kneeling every minute for 30 seconds before a game actually achieving? It's making people think that we're making progress. It's making people think that we're doing something. In the meantime, racism is still happening on the street and on the pitch. Racism is still blocking more Les Ferdinands getting to positions of power in the corridors of power within football's corridors. So for me, I totally endorse what he was saying. And if there's anyone more qualified to talk on this issue and take that stance than Les Ferdinand, Please tell me who it is. Played the game in the 80s when racism was at its most rife in terms of English football. Has played the game for the 90s. Is now a director of football at a football club. Has employed, I think, 3 black managers, if I'm not mistaken. So he has the credibility and the authority from me anyway to talk on this issue. We need more or less Ferdinand to speak up. But fundamentally, I agree with his sentiments 100%. Performative politics, I have no time for. What are we doing?
Super Kev, what are your thoughts?
Pretty much the same. It's a gesture. That's what it is. It's a gesture that looks well on TV and it looks well to everybody. But the bottom line is, what are we doing about it? What are we doing about the issue? That's what we never hear from Sky and the Premier League and all these FA and all these people in power. What are they actually doing about it? Black Lives Matter movement is what it is. I want to see action. I've lived through it. I've played through it. I'm now a football dad. I've got a son in it, and nothing has changed. Nothing. So it's a lip service. It's a gesture. Les is 100% right. It's nonsense.
I think we all have a part to play. Every single person has a part to play. You're right. Gestures, they don't mean anything if there's nothing behind it. If there's nothing, if people do not stand up and support other nationalities, races, religion, we're finished. And I do not get it, Kev. You know, I say this week in, week out. What Jordan, I'm Jewish, okay? So I have the other side of it. Yes, I'm not a person of colour, but I have the anti-Semitism side of it, which growing up, I never experienced. But during the last 10 years or so, I've seen it. I handle it. And I shouldn't have to. I have the side of the fact that I'm a woman in football. I have the sexism side of it. Do you know what? It's all so boring and ridiculous because I've said this from day one. If you are a dickhead, you are a dickhead, regardless of colour, race, religion, sex, anything. You're a dickhead. If you're not, then you're not. And I wish everyone would take that stand and stop being so absolutely ignorant with everything in life. Take the person for who they are. End of. It's simple in my head.
I remember the conversation, Amanda, we had with Darren Lewis, a good friend of the show, and Kevin, and talking about growing up, being young men from the age of 0 to now, and when you talk to people who are in the trenches, and I'm gay, so we have the whole thing here, guys. We've got it all going on. We've got the gays, we've got the Jewish folks, we've got the black folks, we've got a little bit of everything. But it's just until someone's walked in your shoes and until someone understands where you're coming from, it's very difficult for certain people to understand. But the fact that things haven't changed and now Kevin's worried about his son, who's a footballer and who's playing, that to me is the most alarming thing. And I tell you what, Jordan, and I'd love your perspective on this. The media have a huge, huge part to play in this, right? I was so incensed with the way headlines are written about Raheem Sterling.
I was going to say that about Raheem.
Other players, right? I was thinking to myself, some of the headlines about Harry Maguire and what he did in Greece, right? Trying to make my people look bad, by the way. But how he handled himself and what he said. And, again, there's two sides to every story. And then there's the truth. Okay. But the way he was treated, he's a good guy and whatever. To me, it's just so shockingly bad. And I think there's such a huge responsibility on their shoulders to do and say the right thing. And a lot of the times they don't. And that also perpetuates the problem. Jordan, what's your take on how certain players are treated, versus others? Because even to someone like me, it's so glaring.
I think on the Harry Maguire thing, I've got some very strong views on that, which I won't say now because I'll get in trouble. But what I will say is I agree with you. There are some people that are protected and there are some people that are not. And the Harry Maguire was a really good example of somebody who I believe is being protected for reasons that I know why, but I don't think it's probably proper of me to kind of go into that on a public forum.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people were saying to me, if that was Paul Pogba, if that was a black person, the media would have killed him, which I don't disagree with. But I don't think it's even necessarily about race. I think if that was Jack Grealish, he's finished. There are certain white players that if they'd have done what Harry Maguire had done, they'd be finished. So it's not just a race thing, but going back to Les Ferdinand, the media, you're right, has a massive role to play in this. And just to kind of make it about me for 2 seconds, Talk Sport, I think, are a media platform that myself and yourself have done stuff on and do stuff on. Kev, you as well. I've been on there as well. And platforms like that have to have more diversity within their organizations to reflect the different voices and experiences of all of the people that love this sport. The more black people, the more women, the more gay people, the more Jewish people, the more disabled people we have in the media, I think everyone gets a say, everyone gets represented. But just going back finally to the whole Les Ferdinand thing as well, there's 2 things happening here in football. You have racism within the stands itself from football fans and within the players themselves. But you also have racism in the boardrooms. The fact that there is no black person, a board member in the FA, I think is embarrassing. There's no one senior up in the Premier League who's black. There's no senior black figure within any Premier League club as well. Those are the things we need to really look at, because until we can get black people and women in those positions of power at the top echelons within our game, our national game, things are always going to be the same as they were. We have to lobby and keep the pressure on to get more people like Sir Les Ferdinand working within the FA, because otherwise it's always going to be an old white boys network that think the way they've always thought, and they think it's a good idea to have Black Lives Matter on backs of shirts, and that's a pat on the back job. I have no time. But
just think, Jordan, if the 4 of us were all on there, we would cover everything. We got gays, women, Jewish, black, everything. It would just be the whole thing. And the fact that you and Kev could go at each other the whole time, and me and Coach would just be referees. It would be
I'm ready. I'm ready for the Jordan, Super Kev, WWF.
Round two on another pod.
Totally.
South London's finest.
Well,
you know that.
I think we have, we all agree we have a long way to go, and the hypocrisy here, especially in the NFL, don't get me started on that with regards to what they're doing now and how Colin Kaepernick was treated and completely ostracized, from the league. So anyway, we are off on that. It's important. And the overlord of procrastination, we are not talking politics. We are talking about a very important subject that is football related. Someone who is a key informer and a legend of the game in England made a very important comment, and a current player who plays for a team in South London, that is Crystal Palace, also had a point of view and perspective on that. So if you don't like it, yes, indeed, goodbye, because these are the subjects that are important and we have to be able to talk to them. This is not a political show. We never, ever talk about politics on our show, and that it was not a political discussion. It's a discussion that is important across the board. Right. With that said, let's move on to one of our favorite games here, Jordan, Amanda, and Super Kev. Predictions. Now, Amanda, are we predicting the Carabao Cup game tonight? Are we going to do that?
No, I'm going to go straight to Liverpool. I want to say something, because I said we'd beat West Ham 5-1, which is ridiculous because I'd never think that anyway, but I got carried away by the hype. I said we'd draw with Fulham 2-0, which all laughed at, and obviously we didn't. I just think I'm absolutely useless at predictions. I just think I'm useless at predictions. So I'm going... Fun. I know, but honestly, I don't even like predicting because I'm so
She's yours now, Jordan. She's yours now. Your problem, mate.
Jordan, when I come on your podcast, will you just not make me predict, and let's not talk about transfer rumours? Then we'll be happy. We'll have a lovely pod. I'm off, girls and boys. I'm going to go with Jordan now. It's Jordan and PG. He's going to love
going off. What do you mean you're going off? We sent you. We sent you.
To Jordan.
You're gone. You're gone. We sent you.
I don't know what Jordan talks about on his podcast, but I can't wait. I'm going for 2-2 with Liverpool. I was thinking 3-0, but
we're going to do. Well, we've got Friday's show to talk about Liverpool predictions. But go on, because we got Jordan here. We want to know what Jordan's perspective is going to be on it.
She might be gone before then, so let her say it.
It makes you. Kev cannot wait to get rid of me. He cannot wait. I'm thinking 2-2. Then I thought 3-3, and I thought no, Liverpool's defence aren't that bad. Then I was thinking that our defence, and I thought it's 2-2 for me. But it could change by Friday night. We've got a really special guest as well Friday night, haven't we?
You thought we were gonna. You called 2-2 against Fulham.
I know.
This is why we're sending you away.
And I went a bit mad about West Ham. And when they came out in the first 10 minutes, I looked at Carl and my dad and I went, I think 5-1's a little bit too optimistic. We haven't even got the ball yet. So, yeah. No, I'm going 2-2 with Liverpool. I think we'll beat Leicester tonight 3-1. I'm just going to say that.
Jordan, what's your take? We've beaten Liverpool. What I think is difficult for some Arsenal fans too, and where they get upset is because we've been so bad. You know, we beat Manchester United.
Tell us. I can't read it. I should look on mine. He's
Go Campbell.
Oh, is that your son?
Your son.
Hey!
Playing in the cup tonight. So he's just scored, apparently.
Oh,
Well
that's
What that was for. Not for you, PG. That was that goal. See, that's why we're getting rid of her, Jordan. That's why she thinks I'm having a go at her.
that was a good.
Too funny. I was like, hold on. The Arsenal game hasn't started yet, has it? It starts in a few minutes.
I thought it was us when he said Carabao. I was like, oh.
Hilarious.
I don't know. I'm too tired.
So with regards to some of the teams we beat in Project Restart, I think one of the hardest things is that we've been poor for so long. So when we do beat, I mean, we repeated 2017, beat City along the way, beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final. We beat Liverpool twice, you know, Community Shield. They were just missing Trent Alexander-Arnold and Jordan Henderson. They had a full strength team. We beat them in the league. Kevin was saying on the show the other day that if we beat Liverpool at Anfield, it will set the league on fire. What are your thoughts?
That's a bit dramatic.
A little bit.
Drama.
I think, and this is going to be a sin on an Arsenal podcast, I think we'll lose 3-2.
Okay.
I think Liverpool are better than us still. They're a better team. And I think once I remove emotion and my heart for 1 second, I think if we can get a point there, that'll be great. If we can beat them there, obviously that would be insane. But I still think that our defense has still got a bit of work to do. I think in midfield, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard in midfield with what we've got. I think this is another example for Arteta to show that he can really deliver in another big game. Okay, we beat Liverpool in the Charity Shield. Okay, we beat them at the Emirates when the title was won and they were still pissed up. All right, now is when it really matters. And I think now is when Klopp is going to really have his team up for this. I think we'll just lose, but I don't think we'll play poorly. And that's the progress I think I've seen under Arteta. Generally, even if we lose, we don't play badly. And my big thing this season for Arsenal, above everything else, is just be hard to beat. Just be hard to beat. Arsenal will lose games this year, and we'll lose a few games that we probably shouldn't lose. But my thing is, for too long under Arsene Wenger and under Emery, we're just too easy to play against. I'm seeing mid-table teams and lower-table teams getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goal-scoring chances against us. That shouldn't be happening. We need to
in one half, Jordan.
In one half, Kevin.
Half.
It's like
Yeah,
how we're getting 4 chances to score on our goal. It's like that's the one thing this year I want to see. If we lose, be like, okay, you know what? They were the better team, and they had to work for their 3 points. That's the one thing this year I want to see. I don't care where we finish so much. Just Arteta, make us harder to beat. That's all I ask. And Liverpool is a test. If they're going to beat us in previous years at Anfield, it's game over after 30 minutes. We're 3-4-0 down.
Yeah, but we won't. It isn't like that anymore. I don't feel like game over.
I don't think so either. But let's see, because I'm. Now's when it matters. The back end of the season, when Liverpool won the title, it didn't matter. Now's when it matters. It's been a good start from Arsenal. We've made some good signings. I'm a huge Arteta fan. I wanted Arteta in when Wenger left. Yeah, I was shying for him then. But this is where I think we're going to see if he can really hold his own against the best manager.
This is the
in
gauge,
the league.
isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the Arsenal universe won't go into total meltdown if we lose to the champions. It's okay. You know, we've beaten them twice. You know, odds will say that maybe
it's how you lose.
Yeah,
it's how you lose.
It's how you lose, exactly. And I think that's been the biggest thing for a lot of Arsenal fans. And you said it well there, Jordan. Super Kev, we'll get your predictions for Liverpool, not today, unless you want to give us a little bit of a tease.
Well, I'll give you a tease. If Arsenal are going to get anything at Anfield, they're going to have to defend properly as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say something? I do believe.
Excuse me. Who's talking here?
No,
that's why we're sending her to you,
I know, but
go on then. Take the floor.
I have to interrupt because I've wanted to say this for about 10 minutes. Is that it's different going to Anfield when there's no fans there. I think Liverpool have always benefited from having their fans there, where Arsenal haven't so much. So I'm not that fearful going there at the moment. I'm not fearful going anywhere because our players can hear Arteta and not hear the discord. I think that's the word. On the stands. So I don't look at it like Anfield of old. It's just a ground.
It's a really good point. And I said at the start of the season, and we saw it at the back end of last season, there are some teams that I think, it's not necessarily a good thing, but there are some teams that I think are going to be better with having no fans in the ground. And I think Arsenal, one of those teams. Now, that's not necessarily a good sign because that says something about our players. But I think Arsenal, one of the few teams in the Premier League that I think will benefit from no fans. And I totally agree with you that I think that Liverpool have lost a little something with no fans being in their ground.
Jordan, I'm coming on your pod because
you're coming over. You're coming over.
I'm coming over.
No loan. It's a transfer.
Straight transfer.
Jordan appreciates me. That's all I'm going to say. Jordan appreciates me.
Is it a free transfer?
There's no instalments. It's
got the paperwork.
4 cups of
plus postage and packing.
Got the paperwork ready, Casey.
Plus postage and packing. Draw the contract up, Sophie.
Did you say 97p?
97p plus postage and packing.
It's gone up from 80p.
It's gone up.
Postage and packing. Yeah, we got certain bits we have to send with the postage and packing.
Bits. Yeah, my hands.
We'll even give them a self-addressed, a self-stamped envelope so they could send the paperwork back to us. We'll put the stamp on that bit as well.
Please.
Yeah.
See, Jordan, how much they love me.
No. You're on my team now. Don't worry.
What's your prediction for? What's your prediction for tonight? Because we've got to go and watch the game now. We're not doing one of those. We don't do watch-alongs.
Oh, let's watch along, but no one can watch it anyway. So.
True.
Watch along with us.
Just say win or lose. Arsenal win. Just say win or lose.
Arsenal win. Arsenal win.
It's going to go to penalties, isn't it?
It's going to go to penalties. I think it might.
Yeah.
I think it might.
All right.
As long as Arsenal win, I don't care.
Yeah,
yes.
Same.
Yeah, of course.
PG?
Well, it looks like I might be watching it. I've just seen, so I will let you all know how we're doing.
What do you mean? Isn't it on TV in England?
It's a stream thing. I don't know what it is, but it looks like I might be able to watch it. I don't know.
Isn't it insane that I could just click on my ESPN Plus right behind me here and I could watch the Everton game tonight, I could watch the Arsenal game tonight, I could watch it all.
All right.
I mean, I don't mean to brag.
All right.
Brag. Right, Amanda, you get your paperwork ready right there.
I'm just looking to see if I'm going to watch the game.
Right.
Sign the thing.
I'm going to go and try and watch her. Sign the thing. No, I'm going to do an Aubameyang and I'm going to put her like an egg clock.
Oh, God. You're going to get Ian Wright on FaceTime.
Sophie, Jordan's got all this to look forward to.
He has no idea.
Jordan appreciates me already much more than you'll ever do. I'm coming on, Jordan, whatever it is. I'm coming on. As long as
he's ready.
Green tea, as long as Adrian Durham's not involved, we're happy because I've been with him before.
I love Durham.
Even
He's
everyone.
Just a wind-up merchant.
He is a wind-up merchant. Doesn't get away with it when five anything to do with it. So everyone in chat is really happy about Amanda signing the ting.
Sign the ting, man.
Where's this? I haven't even seen it.
And Jordan is getting rave reviews
to my agent. Send it to my agent.
No, that's good. Jordan deserves it. Jordan's he's been a really good Really, been a really good pod guy coming
Yeah,
on.
brilliant.
I've enjoyed
Really
it.
good,
I've
Jordan.
enjoyed it.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Anytime,
Right, next
anytime.
time, Jordan, I'll let you come on. Right, you can come on with us, but we'll let you talk more
Hey,
than
hey,
Kev.
hey.
Oi, oi,
You're
oi.
not going to be part of it anymore.
Listen, Kev,
True.
you'd miss me so much.
Oh, yeah, I know I would. Wouldn't I, Soph?
Yes.
Jordan, you're welcome back anytime. It's just flown so quick.
Anyone for tennis?
Anytime.
Right, that's it. That's all we got time for, folks. Thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in. The chat room was on fire tonight. Really lots of fun. Jordan, jokes aside, you were phenomenal. You are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome back on the pod anytime. And until then, Amanda, there is only one thing left to say, and that is
that you love me. Oh, no, not that. Not that.
This is, Kev, another example as to why we're letting her go.
Sign the thing and leave.
Thank you, everyone, for all your questions, for listening, for tweeting, for everything. But as normal, always Arsenal.
Lovely. Thank you, Amanda.
That's so weird.